Hey, and we're live.
You're listening to the We Talk Nerd podcast about gaming, movies, and everything nerd. I'm your host, Brandon,
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Rob.
and it's a little bit of a slow week, but we got a couple things to talk about. Couple games came out, so we'll talk about those. Just a little bit of news, but we'll start off with talking to Andrew and see what he's been up to.
And one huge game that I'm sure a lot of people are playing, and that's Pokemon Let's Go. I got the Pikachu edition. Pokemon. And I got the Pikachu edition. I didn't get the edition with the ball, the plus.
Oh, mhm.
I didn't get that. The guy tried to sell it to me, and I thought it was pretty cool, but just
bought it
went with this. Oh, you bought it separate? So I was thinking you could do that anyway. So if I really wanted, I could go there. But
It's pretty neat.
That's what all the cool kids are going to do.
But I picked it up, loaded it up, and my daughter and I played. I actually made her character, and I'm playing
Did
that.
two players?
I didn't do the 2 players yet. You have to,
She could be your assistant.
So how does that work? I guess we'll get into that later.
Couch co-op.
Is couch
Yeah,
co-op?
couch co-op. She gets to be a trainer too.
Okay, we'll have to try
And
that.
she can throw people into battles. Like she has her Pokemon, you got your Pokemon. We're all in it. It's like we're a community.
So I've been playing that. Actually, mostly it's funny because my wife actually hijacked it and is further than I am now. So we're
She
sharing
bought
one
two
game.
games.
Yeah, we're
She got two
sharing one
Switches.
game. So that's what I've been up to.
So one game on 2 systems. Is that what you're doing?
That's what's happening.
Okay.
And it
Yeah,
doesn't have
works.
cloud
Okay.
saves. Doesn't have cloud
No.
saves. So
Thank God, because
Yeah.
we'd be overriding each other's games. My wife and
Right.
I are doing the same thing right
Okay.
now. So she's downstairs currently playing God's Chosen version, Eevee.
Does the Switch not have that thing where, like, if you pick a different account, it uses different save memory files anyway?
it's on.
thing
It's per.
Yeah.
It's per Switch. It's per Switch.
Really?
So- yeah,
Yeah.
So when you buy the game digitally, which is what we did, then you can only log in as the account that bought the game.
Right. I have a physical one, so that's what I'm curious
Ah.
about.
I have a
Then,
physical
then you're
too.
okay either way.
I have a physical too, and it
So
saves
you're
by
not
Switch.
digital.
If somebody logged into my Switch, picked a different account and not my account, it would still play on my Pokemon Let's Go profile.
Would it?
I have
So
to
I'm
doesn't
see.
seem right.
That's what, I don't think
it
it
would.
would. I don't think it would.
No, I think you'd be under a different one.
Because, like, with Breath of the Wild and all that, it uses different save files and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, probably.
So Rob's been playing some Pokemon then.
Yeah, what about Rob? What, you been playing the same, Rob?
Yeah, playing a little Pokemon. Little Pillars of Eternity. And now that Black Friday apparently started last weekend, I also am
right.
the proud owner of Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Nice.
So I'm about to wrap up that first little island.
Mhm.
Killed the mercenary that was looking for me, and right
that's
in
a
one.
good. That's a good laugh there.
Yeah.
The Cyclops.
Oh yeah, well, don't spoil it because I haven't done that yet.
That's the guy
I'm-
at the end.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
be
thing.
fair.
I think you've had the full spectrum of RPGs. The super light Pokemon to like it's almost like an RPG light for Odyssey, and then a hardcore RPG for Pillars. So I
Oh,
think you
yeah.
have all of it.
Yeah, it all depends on which mood I'm going to be in, So I think when it's time to relax, chill out a little bit, Pokemon's perfect for that.
Yep.
And when I'm ready to actually like strategize and be a little more tactical, then Pillars is there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's working out well.
Nice. Well, I've been in the cowboy mood still, so I've been going around gunslinging. When I'm not doing that, I'm either chilling on the couch with my wife playing Pokemon Go, or in bed while she's sleeping playing Pokemon Go, or on the toilet playing Pokemon Let's Go.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, the Switch takes it to another level, and I think this is kind of like
All normal.
the first game I've really experienced on the Switch that felt like a true handheld game. Because all the other ones felt like normal console games. Like they drain the battery really fast. You really can't play them that long on the go. But the Pokemon Let's Go doesn't really drain the battery that fast. You can actually play for a good bit before it goes dead.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's not really in depth, and it's kind of surprising that the controller lasts as long because it does a lot of rumble effects.
Yeah.
and you don't play it with it attached, or at least that's not the way I've been playing. So
When I'm playing on the
surprisingly
go, I don't play with the Pokeball, but if I have it on the dock, that's when I use the Pokeball.
okay.
And it's interesting to play a game with only one controller,
Yeah,
like
that's
just
right.
one hand. Like
Mhm.
what do I do with this other hand? I feel like Ricky Bobby. I'm like,
How does the so I haven't seen the Pokeball yet, or I
Yeah.
haven't used it. So how do you control like movement and everything with it? Does it have a
okay,
little
so
toggle?
the front, which is the the Pokeball button thing, is actually a Joy-Con,
Okay.
like a stick, so you can move it around with it. You click it in, that's one button, and there's a
Mhm.
button on top you press down. You can't see my hands. Press down on the button like that,
Okay.
and that's another button. But there's only two buttons, so you're thinking you can't navigate all the menus with just two buttons, and you're right, you can't. You're very limited to what you can navigate in, but you can play a majority with just that one controller, which is pretty nice. So
Well,
like I couldn't go into options or settings with that controller, but like I can go move Pokemon around, that kind of thing. It's just like
So-
AB.
If it didn't come with Mew, would you have still bought it?
Maybe.
Well, there's that whole
maybe.
there's
That's
that whole
Mew
thing.
was a big selling point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's that whole thing about you can carry that if you're a Pokemon Go fan,
Yeah.
and then you
It
can just
acts
walk
as
with
a-
it. Yeah,
as a-
plus.
Pokeo Plus or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, it catches
Right.
Pokemon for you. And that's
Which is
huge
already,
for
I think, was like $30-$40 by itself
Yeah.
to begin with.
yeah.
So
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 yeah.
when you're doing the couch co-op there, Drew, with your daughter, you could give her the little Pokeball, and she could just be throwing that.
yeah, it's one-handed. It's really easy. And you just
It sounds like a Christmas present. I
Yeah.
think.
and it comes
Yeah.
with Mew, so of course you get a nice shiny Mew out of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And there is no other way to get Mew in the game. So
Well, there you go.
Well,
so if you want a
what are
complete
you gonna do?
Pokédex.
I'm gonna have to.
But other than that, I played a little bit of Fallout 76 with Jared.
I'm really
Did
curious
you
about
then
that.
go score it a 2.3 on Metacritic?
Because I actually like this a little bit. It's
Okay.
not. I personally don't think it's probably worth the $60 as of today, but I still have fun in it.
Did you say
Okay.
2.3 on Metacritic? What?
Hold on.
We'll get there.
No spoilers. No spoilers about Metacritic that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
Let's talk about some other things. First off, we got some news, some Command and Conquer news. Red Alert, which I think is everybody's favorite Command and Conquer, is being remastered.
Nice.
It will come with all the expansions, and this is odd to me. Like, this is the tagline for this. No microtransactions. Like, why is that a tagline? That should be dead
I
giveaway.
think EA has to be clear about it because because remember they said they were not going to do a lot of microtransactions for some games,
Yeah.
and then they dropped Battlefield 5, and it's just nothing but microtransactions.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah,
To
their
protect-
whole
to protect
we've
themselves.
learned from our mistakes is not true.
I haven't even dived into Battlefield 5 yet.
Well,
So it's riddled with microtransactions.
well, I'll talk a little bit more about Battlefield 5 in my Metacritic wrap up after the reviews. Command and Conquer is certainly, a very important game for me, but it was 20 years ago. It was important.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not quite sure, even a remastered edition, just how well that's going to hold up. I really like Tiberium War. Which came after Red Alert, but yeah, Red Alert and I think it's Yuri's Revenge is the second one, second part of that. Good series. I'll just be curious to see what it, if it still holds up.
I wonder
So-
if this is like a answer to Warcraft 3 remastered, because they were kind of around the same time period. They're both RTSs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know,
All right.
maybe the RTS is making a comeback.
Could be. There's been some good ones, and we'll talk a little bit about another one, or at least a simulator coming up. But for now, have you guys been hearing about this new game Artifact coming out from Valve? It's
Yeah,
got a
the
lot of
quick
hype
game.
right now. Yeah, a lot of hype right now because there's 3 different boards that you play on. It's essentially a card game MOBA. You got your top lane, middle lane, bottom lane, and you have different cards that you deploy at each different one, and you're trying to knock down the other group's towers. And it's created by the guy who invented Magic the Gathering, right? So what could possibly go wrong? Well, it turns out it's super expensive to play this game because it's $20 for the base game, which gets
Okay.
you all the starter cards.
Not
Then
too bad,
you
I
have to
guess.
get more, yeah, not too bad, right? But then you have to get more cards because you can't just play the starter card.
Of course.
Right.
So to get the cards, you have to get them in events, and the way that you get in events is you pay real world money
Oh no.
to buy
Oh,
event
no.
tickets to play this, or you can get cards in packs, which you guessed you pay for with real world cash, or you can play on expert mode, which is
One-
only $1 per play,
What?
and that is per game. To pay $1 to play
$1
on expert,
per game.
yes, to play on expert mode, and you can win some cards doing that too.
What?
Yes.
What is right? Yeah.
Yeah, so Valve has immediately come out and said, "Hey, we're taking a look at this. We're going to reduce some of these costs. This could be astoundingly expensive for someone to play and get into. Not that like Hearthstone is like a cheap game to get into by any stretch of the imagination, but this is like right off the bat, considering it's not free to play, but you have to pay to play, meaning just to continue playing. It's rubbing some people the wrong way, and for good reason. So I'll be curious to see what it comes out looking like. The gameplay itself looks fun, but not for that kind of entry price.
Yeah, like it's kind of odd for them to say, yeah, our card game's gonna cost $20 when there's a million card games on the market that are completely free to get into.
Including Magic the Gathering Arena, which just this week dropped a. It's still kind of a beta process right now, but now you can challenge friends directly and play head to head, which was missing from the game before, and it's really, really well done. There's still some bugs to be worked out, but for a digital experience, I think it's really top notch.
And Artifact is not in beta. This is a full release.
Yeah, this will be a full release from Valve. This will be day one game.
So thinking about it, like Hearthstone when it originally came out, free to play, right?
Yeah.
Why would if Artifact had the zero, free to play, then people can spend the $20 on getting more packs and stuff. So maybe just take the $20 upfront cost out.
I want to say you get something in the neighborhood of 150 cards for your $20. And Hearthstone, you wouldn't get that because remember you had to unlock each of your cards for
They're
your
leveling up.
class.
Mhm.
So you had to play as your class until you got through the I think level 10 or something like that. So you'd
Right.
actually have all of the main starter cards.
I remember
So
that. I
you'd
do.
have to grind probably. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It was an 8-hour grind ish to go through and get to level 10 with all of them. I'm just assuming it probably was maybe a little less or more. And because of that, maybe someone thinks $20 isn't so bad to just go in and just have all the cards.
I see. Yeah.
So
I was just wondering where they were
wasn't mad
coming
about
from
the
there.
$20.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully reducing means like halving the price. Maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and not that we're turning this into an MTGA commercial, but we just got a pro tip in chat that if you file a bug report for MTGA, and you will find them, you do get a free pack of cards. So
Look at that.
yeah, it's like a $2 to $3 value.
Cool
nice.
stuff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. So, Brandon, you mentioned you played Fallout 76. Did you play today? And did you download?
I have
the
not
patch?
played it today, and the patch is downloaded.
It's
Because it
downloaded.
downloaded.
Right. I was going to say, you might have noticed a strain on your network resources or perhaps your bandwidth struggling to download a 47 gigabyte patch.
It is a very large patch. That is
Can't be possible.
that's like a whole game size right there.
Yeah. The install base is 50 gigabytes. So the fact that the patch is 47 gigabytes is pretty wild. The thing is that they're kind of obscure or being kind of nonchalant about what exactly is being addressed in this patch. They just say several issues have been addressed to resolve hitches during gameplay and other performance issues. 47 gigs coming right at you.
Which you've never seen before, really. You've never seen before in gaming.
Not that size. Not that size. No.
Right.
You've seen big patches, but 47 is notable.
Yep.
Definitely.
That's notable.
Definitely.
Yeah. And another game, kind of a darling of the show, at least for Brandon and I, is Frostpunk. It has an expansion coming out. It is a free update for existing owners of the game, and I'm really excited about this aspect of it. They're going to add or they're going to have two different game modes in the game now. We've been playing on endurance. That's the survivalist mode, which is very hardcore, and you're trying to see how long you can go and
It's very
try to
hard.
survive. Yeah, very hard. They also have a serenity mode, which is more of a city building type of aspect.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, so you're basically able to grow your city at your own pace without a lot of the hard challenges. So, the temperature drops and everything else, you're somewhat spared from that, because that game is so much fun, but sometimes that temperature just drops, and you're like, oh man, what am I even
You have to
doing
manage
here?
your resources very carefully and your space, because you can run out of space.
Oh yeah, it happens pretty regularly. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that there's a more casual way to play it, and I think there might be some really interesting things that could come from that, especially because
definitely.
the story is really fun. There's really a lot of cool things in that story,
Oh,
especially once you start exploring outside the city.
Yep, I agree. It's good stuff. And it is a very unique title that we've seen come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Is the developer thinking about making other games at the moment, or because
Gosh,
it's
I don't remember. Who
somewhat
made
of
this?
somewhat of an indie title, or
Definitely an indie title. They've made a couple other series. I'm trying to remember what they're most famous for. Let me look this up real quick.
Developer is 11-bit Studio.
Yeah,
Haven't
but
heard.
They worked on like this War of Mine, Moonlighter.
okay, no, those
Yeah,
those
this-
games are notable.
yeah,
The
this War of
designer
Mine is a big
actually-
one.
It's like to be one guy.
Wow, these
Yeah, it's a small group. They're based out of Poland, and it seems like that's really like a hotbed of talent right there, because CD Projekt Red is out of there as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Poland
there's a number of
is
things
a hot
that
spot
they.
right now.
Mhm.
I was just
They-
curious. Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to make those difficult games, or games that are hard to play. Moonlighter is actually a game that is on my list to pick up from them. It's looks like it's published by 11-bit Studios, but if you haven't seen it, it's kind of a Zelda type of game,
hmm
and it's coming out for. I want to say it's going to be out on the Switch and PC, and you go and collect artifacts and loot from dungeons, and then you come back and you sell it at your store.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So an interesting spin on that type of
Yeah.
dungeon crawl.
Speaking of Frostpunk, it is currently 33% off. And,
oh,
looks like they've introduced an endless mode where you can just like play. I mean, I guess continuously with different challenges coming through.
Well, that might be the endurance mode I was referring to.
Must be.
So maybe it's a different way of doing it.
yes,
Nice.
that's what it is. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, 33% off probably puts it down in the $20-ish range. 25, 30 maybe.
Let's see. Give you
I
an
wanna say it
exact
was only-
number.
I think it was a $30 game. So if it's 33% off, I'm going to guess it's around 20. But I can't remember if it was maybe 40.
It is $19.99 right now.
There you go. Yeah, for $20 it's well worth it. That's
Oh, yeah,
a
definitely.
brutal game, fun game.
You'll
sweet
put a couple
game.
hours. You'll probably get the $20 worth of hours just trying to figure out all the different ways of trying to live and survive. Of like, oh nope,
Sure.
restart,
Yep.
restart.
Yep, totally agree. So that's all I have for news. Maybe it's time to get into some reviews.
Yeah, and really, it doesn't look like we have much to talk about in the way of reviews besides Pokemon. So
but we've all played it.
we all have
so-
played it. So yeah, everyone gets a lot of insights in that. So, this is for both Pikachu and Eevee because, of course, they're the same game. Different starters is
Correction, we have a separate section below this for Eevee.
and we do indeed.
Some
But,
remarkable differences.
Yeah. Anyway, if you didn't know, Let's Go is a re-edition of the yellow version of the game, where all starters are available. And some of the other versions you couldn't obtain the other starters without trading. In this version, you get every Pokemon.
Starters meaning Bulbasaur, Charmander.
Charmander
And Squirtle. Yeah.
of course. And if you've played Yellow before, you know there's actually some neat ways of actually obtaining those Pokemon outside of catching them in the wild. No, I don't want to spoil anything though. It's a really fun journey. They've made the biggest changes overall gameplay because it is called Let's Go and it's not just a normal Pokemon and the color version of the game. Is that it uses the the catch mechanic similar to Go, where you toss the Pokeball at them without fighting them. They have the berry feature in there where you give them different berries that have different effects on them. Of course, there's different balls. I know there's regular Pokeballs, Ultra Balls,
Great balls,
and the Premier Balls. And they've brought back the candy mechanic, which is in Go, where if you catch multiple of the same Pokemon, you can send it to Professor Oak, and he in turn will give you candy for said Pokemon, which in this game will buff stats to whatever Pokemon you give it to. And I think if you catch like so many, he'll give you like a Pokemon specific candy, which will buff like all the stats for that specific Pokemon.
and sometimes rare candy.
Yeah, rare candy will,
Yeah.
which will give your Pokemon a level, of course.
Yeah, you find that as you're just going around through different areas.
And overall, it's a more simplified version of Pokemon because Pokemon over the years has become pretty complex for some newcomers. So this game has kind of brought it back down to its roots, kind of simplified it so people who never played before, or people who just played Go on their phones can kind of get into it, learn all the ins and outs of what being a Pokemon master really is about. But if you are a longtime fan, there is some little tidbits in there of complexity that you can get into. There's master trainers, ace trainers, that kind of thing that other people can just skip around. But if you're into the challenge, you can play it.
I have been.
There is no wild battles, so you won't encounter a Pokemon and have to fight them. So you might thinking there's like not as many battles, but they've increased the number of trainers that are just out around the world. So you're going to get in a lot more trainer battles than you're used to.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. As a kid, that was really annoying. I would try to find the easiest way to skip as many as I could. But now I'm like, I'm gonna like fight every single trainer in this area and then move on.
I thought that's how you played the game. I've been fighting everybody I see.
See, as a kid, it was I got to skip by and get by everybody as sneakily as possible. But to be the very best, you do have to fight them all.
The way I'm thinking about this is some of the dialogue options are kind of funny. They're like,
They are.
oh, well, hey, I like catching Pokemon. All of a sudden, you're fighting them.
Yep.
And you think
Oh
about,
yeah,
like,
yep.
if this was happening like real time, it'd be like this guy was just sitting here catching Pokemon, and this aggressive kid came up and started attacking him,
Yeah.
and then took the Pokemon he had.
It's really funny to see because back in the day, of course, it was the 8-bit stuff, and it kind of all fit together. Really, you just walk up to people and start fighting. It's really simple text, but now it's all 3D. It's very nice looking. Everything's all drawn out, but it still has that same kind of rhythmic to it. You just walk up to somebody and it's like, oh, let's battle now, and you start fighting out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, even in the Pokemon clinics and stuff, they have the 8-bit avatars for each of the characters, which is nice because if you are from that old school period, you would immediately see what they used to look like, and your imagination was filling in what these things.
Oh no! Even more so, they kept the sounds of every single Pokemon.
They have the Generation 1
and the
cries.
music as well is just so nostalgic, and you can't even think like the city setups, even the storyline and the routes and everything. Everything it's just amazingly done.
Everything is almost exactly as it was in Yellow, just with a modern slap of coat of paint on it and taking out some complicated things. There's actually some hand holding you can actually go through. It's like because originally in Yellow, it wouldn't tell you exactly where to go sometimes, and you'd be really lost. You'd be like, I don't know where to go. And now it's like, hey, go over there to go to the next part of the story. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff.
How far are you guys in, you think?
I am in Lavender Town. For those who don't know it by name, it's the town with the ghost tower where they bury all the Pokemon.
Oh. So what level do you think you are, like your main Pokemon?
Oh, like 32, 33.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 22. Level 22-ish.
25.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Let's battle.
I just got off the boat.
Yep.
Ah, nice. Yeah, so you're not too far behind me then.
Okay. Yeah, I put a little bit of time into it.
Yeah. Good. I've been trying to catch every Pokemon as I come by them, so I'll hang out in the routes a little bit longer and see if there's any new Pokemon that pop up, and if not, I'll keep moving. But I kind of want to get like good catch them all and a good first time play. Yeah, I actually saw one shiny so far, and it ran away from me, and I was very sad.
Oh, really?
I never even saw the shinies yet.
So yeah, for those who don't know, shinies are like the ultra rare version of Pokemon, where there's a little percentage that can roll, and they'll have a different color to them. It's kind of like just like, hey, this is the super rare version of this Pokemon. And yeah, he came up. I threw 3 Pokeballs at it. He broke out of all 3 and ran away. And I
no.
No, that's a shame.
They'll come back.
So did you trade any of the the Alola region?
I actually have. I've been talking to people getting those. That's something else I didn't do as a kid was talk to all the NPCs because I'm like, these chumps are wasting my time. But if you don't know, if you talk to them, you can get a lot of secret stuff you didn't know you could get.
Yeah,
there's a lot of outfits they'll give you free stuff. Yeah, free stuff. People love to give you stuff in these games.
Yeah, and they will trade you much better Pokemon than you have.
Yes.
I think the first lady said, "Hey, do you want your Rattata? Like, will you trade me one?" I'm like, "Sure." I got like a level 2 Rattata, like just sitting there at the bottom of my Pokemon bag, and she gave me like a level 14 color variant, which was really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Something else that's new with this one is they actually came out with a Pokeball Joy-Con, which is that the first non-Joy-Con?
It sounds Well, there's more Joy-Cons that we don't know, or
not that there's more Joy-Cons. I was gonna say that the Labo stuff worked with wasn't really different, but it hooked on to the stuff. Yeah,
but I think this one's actually an actual controller that's not the normal Joy-Con controller. I know we talked about. I think they're coming out with like the fishing rod version for like Bass Pro or something a little bit later.
See, that will be fun. That'll be well worth it. But I think for given that you got some people that are liking to play with their kids, being able to hand them that little Pokeball and they can sit there and throw and like
it's really cool. As a kid, I would have loved to have that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a little controller. It's got one joystick on it, which is the button. You can press it in. That acts as a button, and there's a button on top. So there's only 2 buttons in all. It's got motion control. So when you're in a battle to catch it, or in a catch mechanic, you just throw it at the screen, and the ball will go where you throw it. So that's cool. Just make sure they don't let go of the ball and like smash screen. Or something.
Does it have a? It comes with a brace.
It comes with a strap, and actually has like a finger ring. So like you hold it in your hand.
Oh wow!
Finger ring. So yeah, like you can like
legit.
So like you can actually, I guess, let it go, and it like still kind of in your hand. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. It's if you've been a Pokemon fan all these years and wanted a real Pokeball, this is about as close as you can get to one. It acts as a PokeGo Plus for the Pokemon Go on your phone, which allows you to catch Pokemon and use the Pokestops without actually having to have your phone out in front of you. You just hit the button on it, and it'll automatically do it. And actually, you can put a Pokemon in from Let's Go into the ball and carry it around with you, which I'm not sure who I'm sure kids would do this. And you can like press it and it'll like make the Pokemon noise, let you know it's in the Pokeball, that kind of thing. So it's cool stuff like that. And it comes with a free Mew, and it's the only way to get Mew.
I remember Mew was always kind of like almost like a legend,
microtransaction.
There wasn't any way to get Mew in the original games without
hacks
glitching it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if Nintendo, I think Nintendo had special events that you could go to and get one in real life.
You could trade for it, right?
Yeah. And basically. Actually, like original Mews that were legit you can actually sell your game that actually has the Mew on there for a lot of money.
Oh wow!
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
It's an actual Mew. Yeah.
I had a file and then I messed it up with one of the codes.
It's just not worth anything then. So that's fine.
I know, yeah. But it was still worth it. Some major changes though, right? Like other than of course, walking around and you actually instead of random battles, you see the Pokemon and you get to pick the Pokemon in which you not battle but catch once you catch.
Yeah.
So that's
I wish it was
pretty
easier
major.
to avoid them though, because they'll just fly right at you. Be like, capture me.
If it's like the normal game, you're just walking in grass and it's like, boom, hey, I'm here, let's fight.
Yep. So that's it.
I like it a lot better because then it's run around and be like, no way, Jose, not you, Zubat, not this time.
Exactly.
Because one of the first things you encounter is the rock tunnel, and back in the day, there was no way you wouldn't encounter 50 Zubats before you're out of that thing.
That's right.
Now you don't have to touch a single one and get out of there. So that's great.
Pretty amazing. That's right.
Yeah. And something else they added is that you can ride Pokemon now.
Yes.
So that's cool.
You can.
So you can have
interesting looking.
Yeah. You can have like your partner Pokemon out and following you, and if you have like a large one, you can actually ride them, and they move really quick. So that's really cool.
I don't have that one of those yet, I guess, so I'll have to experience
So,
it
yeah.
later.
In the town, actually, that Rob's at right now, one of the gentlemen will give you, at least I think in both versions, if you catch 5 Growlithe or 5 Meows, he'll actually give you a Persian or an Arcanite.
Wow.
And you can ride on those.
Yeah, that might be in the Pikachu version. I don't think I've come across them.
Yeah, he's in
to
that.
catch.
He's in that town. You just have to find him.
Okay.
I don't know where Meowth. I don't know where Meowth is in your version, but if you catch 5 of them, go talk to that guy.
Oh, you know what? I did. I do have a couple of them, but the rock monster, the one that looks like a big snake,
Onyx.
Onyx.
Yeah, you can ride. I think you can ride him, right?
Maybe.
I haven't caught
I
one,
think-
though.
I haven't really done a whole lot of Pokemon riding.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
I
can.
mean-
Well, they're big. That's what freaked
They
me
are.
out.
They're
Then
huge.
you think like, okay, so when you start off, like one sitting on my hat, very cute. You
Yeah.
guys have the evil pirate version sitting on your shoulder, much more imposing and not friendly. But then I bust out this this like rock snake guy, this Onyx,
Yeah.
and he's 3 times as big as I am.
He's, like even,
I'm just
even
running
when you
around the
encounter them in the original game, they're just sprites and you really don't know their size. But like when they pop up in 3D, Onyx, when he pops up in the wild, he's
huge.
rather large. Like you can just run into him, like not even being close.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
yeah,
cool.
and if you haven't been able to tell, Brandon and Andrew are definitely more of the longtime Pokemon players. I am very new to it. I've dabbled. I've played a little bit. I've played a little bit of Go, and for me coming into it, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's super addictive. And I think that's the thing is, I don't feel like the game is very innovative, and I could see how people would really want more, and they're just gonna be pushing for more. They're going to want the newer iterations, the newer generations, all that sort of
And
thing.
those are coming. They've already said,
Yeah.
this isn't a main series. This is like they're kind of.
Well, they're just printing cash at this point
Oh,
because this is going off huge. And
Oh, definitely.
I would like to see, hopefully, the next game doing more stuff to where it doesn't feel quite so repetitive. And I don't know if I'm just so early on in the game, but it also seems very easy. I'm just curb stomping all the Pokemon I come across.
It's okay. So in the originals, when you caught a Pokemon, or in this case, you battled a Pokemon, and you defeated them. You would in the original game, you wouldn't get XP for all your Pokemon in your party.
You
You
just
would
get
get
for one.
you would get for one.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to try to switch out the Pokemon you want to level up and then level that up. Here in this game, everyone gets XP when you catch Pokemon, when you defeat them, and that makes it a lot easier across the board. So, and
It's
I
really
like that.
rare
I like
have
that.
to go to one of my other Pokemon.
Yeah.
I've got a
At the
Bulbasaur and
the very early stages, it'll seem like you're just kind of rolling through it with one, but you'll get to some trainers and like the Elite 8 at the end there. That'll
Elite-
actually be tougher, and you'll have to use your other Pokemon. Like 'cause
Elite Four?
their teams will be so different. Like one Pokemon won't be effective enough to do everything that you need.
Right. Yeah, I understand that there's going to be differences, but I rolled through everything except for Misty at the second trainer. She was
See,
tough.
Us with the electric rat Pokemon that sits on our shoulder.
Destroys
just-
one shot. Just one shots it.
We
Yeah.
had no problem with Misty.
Nope.
I kept casting water spells with Eevee. He's got this like bubble thing I was able to do, and it works out pretty well. But there's this Scald attack that they were doing, and all my Pokemon are just burning to death.
No.
I end up winning with 6 life left on my last Pokemon,
Wow.
and that was it. There was some I was just sacrificing so I could heal one in the bag to be able to bring
Yeah.
him back up.
There's the ace trainers that you can find. I have like the 3 dots above their heads that are sitting around the
Yeah.
world. Those guys can be pretty difficult to fight. I've actually had probably more trouble out of them than some of the gym trainers right now.
I'm a whole old school RPG person, so I'll just level up all my Pokemon to like 10 levels above the trainers, and I'll just destroy everything. So that's me.
Yeah,
There's always
I like when yeah, I like when they say it's super effective and they don't even do like maybe like 4 damage to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's that effective, huh? Or when you're like, you attacked him, it's not very effective, and it just like one shot at him. It's like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So levels are very important in the game. So,
definitely.
do we want to talk scores and move on to something else?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say precursor that I think a lot of people probably gave this game a lot of hate because they thought it was marketed towards the Pokemon Go fans and maybe the kiddie crowd. But I think if you're a longtime player, I think there's some enjoyment in it. As a longtime player, I scored an 8 out of 10, and I was optimistic when it was announced. Like I was like, this looks kind of silly. But after playing it, I would say it's probably one of the better Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also going to give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like there's not as much depth in the game. Mm-hmm. So once I'm done, I don't think I'll revisit it.
Right.
For me. But I'm very eager to see what next iterations there could be, or even some DLC to expand the game and maybe add some more to it.
I think they could build off of this if they wanted to. Like,
yeah.
Instead of releasing, I mean, they could print more money, but they could just say, "Hey, here's $30 pass for the next the next region in the game," and you go through the next region.
That'd be amazing. And coming from me, I'm gonna give it 8.5 just for that 0.5 extra because me and my daughter played, and there was this feeling that when I was young, this is my first Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. This is her first Pokemon game, and when she was petting Pikachu and understanding it and
talk about that.
throwing the Pokeball and it was just one of those nostalgic moments for me being I'm teaching my daughter the same game, almost the same game that I played back when.
Almost.
And that was to me. I was
you haven't even figured out 2-player yet, so you might be a 10 out of 10 when you get that figured out.
I don't know. When we get figured out, let's see. I'll buy the Pokeball for both of us and be like, let's go. Turn the hat around like Ash and just
That's what my wife is actually sitting in here when I played it the first time, and I just kind of she doesn't really know or into that kind of thing, and I was like, yeah, I need a hat right.
I need a hat just to turn it. Oh yeah, it's a great game. I love it.
A lot of fun. But tell me about some Metacritic reviews.
Oh gosh,
man, people are loving the games coming out right now. Let me tell you.
Red Dead has sucked the fun out of everybody. This isn't Red Dead 2. I'm not giving this anything.
You're not too far off. It seems like if it's not called Red Dead, no one likes it at all. So here are your scores. Battlefield V from EA is coming out with a 75 on PS4, 79 on Xbox, and 81 on PC. So looks like PC is the version to get. Overall, though, 2.3 is the average of the user score for this game. It seems like people are not happy with the microtransaction system, eerily echoing Battlefront 2 Star Wars from last year. Yeah. So EA may have learned possibly nothing in that time frame.
I mean, they got all their money, so
they did get their money. I don't know if Battlefield. I don't see a lot of people playing Battlefield.
Oh no, Battlefront did not hit its standards.
No, and I don't think Battlefield is getting a lot of play either. Not from anyone that I know, in my circle, or even on Twitch. You just don't see a lot of it. Some streamers are playing it, but it's not a huge game on there.
There's some community members that are playing it, but not as much as I thought would be playing it. If that makes sense.
We do have a lot of. They've kind of stagnated some of the content, so I don't think the entirety of the game will be out until March, and that's when the Battle Royale will drop. But there's some other modes that aren't out yet that might drop in next month or in January.
Mm-hmm. That is a very good point. So it's basically a half game at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking, because they've already delayed it by I think a month. Anyway, before it was already delayed once. I don't know why you would stagnate your release. I can understand Battle Royale not being ready, but why stagnate other stuff?
They're falling behind Call of Duty is the problem.
Call of Duty is doing really well. It's doing very well.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's first. That makes a big difference.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You capture that audience. Battlefield 5 comes out with some issues. You could end up having an off year or a rethinking cycle. But it might as well be the Citizen Kane of video games compared to the next game's review, which is Fallout 76. Currently sitting on a 46 for PS4, a 65 for Xbox, and a 59 on PC. Not as many reviews as Battlefield 5, so the variability there is probably due to just an uneven number of reviewers. But the user score, which is about the same in terms of just numbers, is sitting at a 2.7 overall. So folks are not happy.
More liked than Battlefield.
They appreciate the lack of microtransactions compared to Battlefield 5. However, the game-ending bugs and just general clunkiness and jankiness of the game has rubbed some people wrong. So we'll see how they deal after this 47 gigabyte patch gets downloaded and played, and we'll see what the see if the user store starts coming up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll prefix that with that. It's fun. Like I said earlier, it's fun. It is a Fallout game, but it is missing something.
Like a sprawling single player campaign.
There is a lot of story,
interactive and engaging.
It's more you have to like search the story out, and it's not like up there in your face like it has been before.
My least least favorite part of 4 was the base building aspects. I really like just going around talking to people. Well, that's all this is, right?
Not all, but a lot is. Yes, okay. It is a survival game. Yeah.
I will be passing on this one. I made that decision prior to any of this coming out.
I would say if you like Fallout, wait a little bit till it goes on sale and play through it when it goes on sale.
That might be the case.
You like Fallout.
Okay.
All right. Well, following up, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So they re-released the original 3, and it's sitting on an 82 Metascore right now, 6.4 on the user score. Still a little off from what the critics think versus what the user is, but not as much of a disparity there. The Pokemons both rocking an 81 Metascore, which is pretty fair. Came in line with what we were all discussing. Users are a little more mixed, 5.1 on the user score. Not quite. And there's really, you'd expect with a 5.1 there'd be a ton of mixed reviews, but it's really they love it or they hate it. There's really not a lot of in between.
And I think a lot of it is people are probably judging it without actually playing it.
Sure. That would not be the first site to do it.
And it also could be the hardcore that's played every single Pokemon game and then gone down to this one and said, what's up with this? That could be that.
But I mean, it was prefix before it even came out with this. This is not for everybody. This is for newcomers.
I mean, so was Fallout 76 was prefix with a lot of stuff, but I guess in this case...
People don't listen.
Yeah.
Well, I think people were cautiously optimistic about Fallout 76, but it's pretty much proven that it's not looking great. So the winner this week is Sid Meier's Civ 6 on Switch with a 94 Metascore, 8.2 user score. Although I will tell you that is very few overall actual reviews. Everyone's playing other stuff, so. We'll have to wait and see probably till what the community really thinks of this game in a week or two after they've had some time to digest it and bring it on in. And for probably one of the biggest disparities of critics and users is Hitman 2. Critics love it. It's got an 84 overall. Average user score is 3.3. So somewhere there's a disconnect between what reviewers think users want in a game and what at least users that are commenting on Metacritic are saying.
Right.
Have you guys seen or played Hitman 2?
I've seen a little bit of Hitman 2. It just looks like more of the last Hitman game. But I mean, I wouldn't play it. It's something I think is fun to watch, but I'm not really that big into playing that.
Sure. So kind of a scorched earth week for games. Hopefully upcoming games will be a little bit better. They can't get much worse.
As long as your game has horses, cowboy hats, and revolvers, I think you'll probably score up there pretty high with the users.
Well, let me put this in perspective, and this is where I don't take Metacritic seriously. There's this one meme on Metacritic.
Oh, you're right.
The Corey's in the house. Corey's in the house DS review. Okay. This is just user score. Oh, sorry. Let me go with the critic score. Critic score. 2 critics rated this, and they're both like it's a 35. And the user score says 1,700 ratings for this, and the user score is 9.6. So they're memeing this. Is what they're doing.
It is a meme. Yeah.
And
Yes.
I mean, for honesty purposes, like they gotta take Metacritic with like I guess a grain of salt, right? Like read the scores, read the user scores, see if they're legit, and then maybe come up with your own.
Yeah, the thing is I believe this is a big case of overreaction, especially first week overreaction. So I wouldn't take it too much in with the you got to take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, it's vocal and it's visible, right?
Yeah.
So people are looking at this and taking this in as, okay, well, this is what the community says or is thinking. And truthfully, reading through Reddit, I'm getting a lot of the same things that I was reading through on some of those. Probably maybe a little bit better grammar, a little bit better spelling, but for the most part, not too different. So
Yeah.
Overall, it seems like this was an underwhelming week for video games, even though I think we're all enjoying at least one of them.
I think it's pretty heavy right now. I've got a lot of things to play. I'm looking forward to playing all of these games.
Yeah, I mean, release for this week.
Yeah. But I think we're kind of crossing to the period of slowing down a bit now.
Yeah, it'll start picking up again. Well, you got a big bump first week of December with Ultimate coming out. I think everyone is looking forward to that.
Yep. Definitely.
And man, two huge games really close to each other on the Switch.
Yep.
And starting the new year is going to be a lot of good stuff too.
Well, you got Anthem around the corner and a couple other things. So yeah, if Battlefield 5's got to try to make up some lost ground there and try to get some players, because if they don't, there's other games that will eat their lunch for them. With that said, that's all I got for Metacritic reviews and news.
Nice.
Thank you, Rob.
We have a little bit of movie and TV news, and I actually went and saw a movie that I'll talk about. It's been a little bit since I've gave a movie review because there hasn't been a lot of nerdy movies out. But we'll start off with saying that there's a Devil May Cry series coming to Netflix, and it is actually part of a animated multiverse with Castlevania.
Nice.
Castlevania
Do we know
series.
it's on Netflix for sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I know there was a little bit of they weren't sure if it was going to be on Netflix, but it was going to be from the same creative team that did Castlevania.
At least from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything to say it's not Netflix.
Okay.
So
Multiverse.
It would make sense.
Multiverse meaning Dante's coming into the Castlevania series. Is that what's happening?
sure, we'll see.
Was it, okay, so just didn't
It's
define
not.
it.
Yeah, it's just titled as Multiverse.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if there's be crossovers or if there'll be references or anything like that. But Castlevania seems to be set, along, it's a time kind of set, historically. While Devil May Cry is kind of like
It's very modern.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, they're not even by the same developers or publishers. It's Konami and Capcom.
That's right.
Capcom, yeah.
Capcom, yeah. So they're kind of crossing lines there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, Japan is known to kind of mix stuff up. You've had Tekken Street Fighter, Fighter Tekken.
Yep.
Marvel vs. Capcom, obviously. Crossovers are kind of a way of life over there, but this would be pretty unique because this is US. Yeah.
Netflix brings publishers together, right?
I think they bring money together.
They bring money together, yes. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, if I'm not a big Devil May Cry fan, I never really got into those games.
Oh, I love them.
If they're good as Castlevania, it'll be a good show.
I played the one on 360. I think it was year 3 or 4. I didn't play the newer one where he got dark hair.
Yeah, I only ever remember playing one on the PS2, and I was kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I played maybe four of them, and I enjoyed all of them. Some were harder than others, but it's all just pure action gunplay.
Demon slaying and shooting guns.
Is it better than Bayonetta, you think?
I actually have not played Bayonetta, and that's one thing I would really love to play.
I'd probably say they're very similar.
I've heard that Bayonetta is actually a better game than... Well,
I'll play it then.
That's hard to say, but it's... People are, because Platinum games are known for their kind of crazy, wild beat-em-ups like that.
They are both very out there.
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, man. We also got some... This is kind of a new news. I saw this right before the right before the show went live, is that the Game of Thrones prequel show will be called The Long Night,
Mhm.
and it is set 5,000 years before current events in the Game of Thrones series.
Yeah. So, donning my nerd cap, that tells me that this is going to be around the time of the first settlers of Westeros, which is the first men, the children of the forest, and all that sort of thing. So, what you might be seeing here is the creation of the White Walkers in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
which
it's
is
titled
the current
The Long Night, so
right. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But keep in mind, White Walkers weren't a thing prior to the First Men and the Children of the Forest. So that was something that was only shown in the show. There's still no canon for that in the books or anywhere else. It's just this one scene at the end of an episode where they said, "This is how we make White Walkers," and that kind of threw people. So
yeah, there's no Targaryens. They said there will be no Targaryens in this series,
and that makes sense too. The Targaryens were still over in Essos, which is on across the Narrow Sea. They were still over in Valyria, flying their dragons around, owning land over there. And it's really the people were fleeing away from the Targaryens that came over to Westeros in the first place. So there's some parallels there with the New World U.S. Colonial times kind of thing. So it's I always like the backstory and the kind of implied history of Game of Thrones. So this is I'm really looking forward to a series like this. I really think that I like the small folk a little bit more than I like the big dragon fight. So I'd be curious to see this.
For the listeners, Rob donned his nerd cap, but it got bigger as he was talking. Man, that was too much for me. That was a lot.
Good stuff. And so that's kind of it for the news. But for the movie, for those Harry Potter fans out there, I went and checked out Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald, which is a mouthful of a title.
Yeah.
How'd you like the first Fantastic Beasts? Let's premise this. I'm kind of curious.
I wasn't the biggest fan. I didn't hate it. I definitely don't think I was a target audience.
Would it be the worst Harry Potter movie?
If you want to put them on a chart and say the best is up here and the last one is the worst, then yes, it would be the worst.
Okay. So it's like a lesser offering. It still looked very cool, but it was like adult Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's adult Harry Potter set in New York in the 20s, about a guy who really likes animals or beasts. So Newt Scamander, right? Newt Scamander, yeah. Which he is in the Harry Potter world. He wrote the book called Fantastic Beasts. So, the movie. It starts off pretty grounded, but at the end of it, it got really difficult to follow. So they kind of started like making what Fantastic Beasts was kind of like a one-off at first. It kind of seemed, and then they seen how much money came from it, and I guess they're like, let's make more. And now they're trying to build like a cinematic universe type deal going on with it, and it's very convoluted. I think. There's a lot of cool throwbacks, a lot of name drops, a lot of places drops from some stuff you'll see in this movie that you've heard about before in Harry Potter. You'll be like, oh yeah, they've talked about that before. That's what that guy is, or this is what this place is. And the first one is just New York, and this one you get a brief glance at New York again, a little bit of London, and then most of it takes place in France. So it does have a lot of different locations and other ones, because other ones, of course, are just in the British Isles, Hogwarts, that good kind of thing. We do revisit Hogwarts. We do see Dumbledore again, much younger Dumbledore, who wears a suit. And if you don't know, in the other Harry Potter movies, he's always wearing these really fancy robes, very wizardy. But in this version, he wears 3-piece suits. So that's different. He's a lot younger than this, because this is set in the 20s, of course, and the Harry Potters are set in the 90s. I think that they could have probably done a little bit better if they didn't put so many characters in this movie. They took all the original characters from the last movie and brought them back in this one. And Yeah, and they were good. They're like their characters fit the first story, but they're kind of out of place in this one. I think they just brought them over to be like, this is a sequel to the last one.
I don't remember any of the other characters.
So yeah,
I mean, being honest, like
you will.
could, like I can tell you a number of the Harry Potter characters because they're all meaningful and they all kind of stick in your mind. But I really just don't remember anyone from that first.
There was the two
movie.
wizard sisters.
I don't remember them. Which ones are they?
The one that had the mind reading powers, Queenie, and I don't even remember the other one's name. The one that was kind of the love interest for Newt. And then there was the non-magic guy who wanted to open
the comic relief, basically.
The comic, yeah, he was the comic relief. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh right, yes, okay.
So they bring those three people back in this one, and they're really out of place. First off, you'd say, they're supposed to be in America. We're in London now. What are they doing here? Yeah. And they kind of have a very cheap, like, oh, this is why we're here. It's like, okay. But really, they're just there to make it like, you've seen these guys before. Kind of like the Avenger effect. You're like, hey, I've seen those guys before in another movie. Yeah,
I think there was not enough Harry Potter in the first one.
Right.
And I don't know that just adding more Harry Potter is going to make it a better movie. It might make it more relatable.
This one added more Harry Potter on top of what was in the last movie.
Yeah. So I just took a quick glance over at some reviews on it. So I'll let you go into yours. Yeah. But it seems like there's some pushback on the overall, just this adhering to a cinematic universe in general.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like we're gonna all look back on cinematic universes and just be like,
"Dang it!"
There was one or two that got it right, and all the other ones were just terrible failures.
Yep. But I think they should have probably dropped the Fantastic Beasts branding for this and just made it a Harry Potter spinoff. Maybe keeping Newt as the main character, as just to have a protagonist we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But having all the other characters really holds it back. Having they actually have a lot of beasts show up in this movie, I guess, to kind of like, hey, this is still a Fantastic Beasts movie. There's a lot of these beasts you've never seen before. There's a lot of kind of the story kind of stops, so they can hang out with this beast for a couple minutes and then kind of keeps going, and that's kind of lame. But I think it had a very good story, but it was really held back by all this stuff. And it was very difficult to follow. I'll give you an example. They inserted a really halfway through the movie, they put in this storyline about who someone might be related to in this family, and then in the end, it didn't even matter at all. It was just completely pointless. It shouldn't have been there whatsoever.
Oh, third movie. What are you talking about? That's probably why.
Oh, and there is, if you're coming to this hoping for a big payoff, there's a lot of build up. There is zero payoff in this movie. It's all build up, no payoff.
Okay, because they got to continue the cinematic universe. This is
definitely all set up for the third movie.
Let me get this straight. They're transforming Transformers. They're doing this to that. They're just dragging it on. Oh no,
there's I think a lot more action in Transformers than there is in this movie. But as someone I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. I've read all the Harry Potter novels. I'm not I don't read off I know they have their website that she posts a lot of short stories on and stuff.
Yeah, she does. I think it's
what it's called.
Potterverse.
I don't dive into that. I'm just kind of movies and the original books. Mm-hmm. I've read the play that came out. I've had the playwright book. I read the playwright.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm pretty well versed in the Harry Potter stuff, and I was very confused. A lot of stuff going on in this movie. It kind of cleans it up a little bit by the end, but not a whole lot. You're still kind of what the crap? But overall, 6 out of 10. It's enjoyable, but they really messed up what could have been a good movie.
Lots of good actors too in that too, and it's kind of disappointing, right?
Yeah, they threw a ton of money at it. The most important number out of all of this is, regardless of the reviews or anything, is how much money it makes.
How much money does it make?
That's true.
And let's take a quick look. What is the box office for?
It's got to be. I mean, just in general, it's large. I mean, just like as if Lord of the Rings did their spinoff, or I mean, Star Wars kind of lost it with Solo, but that's unfortunate with their spinoffs.
Worldwide, 253 million.
Hmm.
Let's see, 65 million for, or 62 million for the, I think domestically. I'm guessing worldwide it's in that 200. But there's a ton of movies coming out that it's going to be fighting with. You know, The Grinch is out there. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh, I'm excited for that
Bohemian
one.
Rhapsody. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on right now.
Bohemian Rhapsody is a good movie. I like that movie.
I hadn't seen it. I'm curious to see it though.
Yeah, it's good. I watched that The Star is Born. A Star is Born. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Psh, Wreck-It Ralph. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where they got their 50 something million, but or 250 million. I think that's going to end up being China.
Probably.
Either way, that's kind of low, right? Considerably.
Worldwide, 250. I couldn't even tell you. 62 is low for a blockbuster. You expect to make closer to 100, but
yeah, it looks like
depending upon the budget, it might have been okay.
It was a bit below expectations domestically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
in this case, we shouldn't be surprised if they also drop these side stories like Star Wars
I don't
did
think
theirs.
So. I think
or...
they'll definitely. Cause I mean, there's no more Harry Potter stuff to be told.
Gotcha.
So like they're kind of making this Wizarding World. I think it's doing well enough for them to keep making movies. I don't think they're losing any money on this.
No, not at all.
I gotcha.
And it might be, you know, to keep the rights and just to, you know, make some residuals. I would imagine, you know, they must have paid J.K. Rowling just a mint to have the rights to make these movies. So
I think she's involved in making them. Like she actually has like some storytelling.
Mhm.
For I understand, actually, like the overall like arcing, like what this is supposed to be about, the subliminal messages, and the hidden messaging, that kind of thing, is all her. So
okay.
yeah, she's the writer for it. Only writer that's listed actually.
Ooh.
Well, there you go. So,
And
all right.
she's also a producer, writer and producer.
Well, you become a producer because you produce the story that they're going after. So,
Worth a red box. Let's see. We'll see.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it
think
definitely
so.
was not going to go to the theater to watch it. So we'll take a look, and you know, I'll let you know in a couple months.
I think if you're a diehard Harry Potter fan, but if not, if you're just kind of like, yeah, Harry Potter's nice, then yeah, wait for Redbox.
Nice.
Harry Potter is nice. So I'll tell you something that also is kind of nice and really effing bizarre is I talked a little bit a couple shows ago about Wolverine coming back. Wolverine was dead in the Marvel comic universe. No one knew where he was. They've been looking for him. They couldn't find him. And I said, hey, guess what, guys? He's coming back. And that's about as much information I had. It was kind of kept under wraps. Well, it turns out when he came back because he had the Phoenix Force, which, if you're not familiar with the Phoenix Force, that is the fire-based regenerative powers of the universe that basically is a cosmic entity that Jean Grey got a hold of, and she almost destroyed the entire planet.
With X-Men 3.
Basically, X-Men 3. It's terrible that that's your point of reference, but that's okay. That's fine. So imagine, instead of Famke Janssen, it was Hugh Jackman up there, eyes going crazy and everything else exploding around him. And then you have a little bit of an idea about what's going on with the Phoenix Force and Wolverine. So, of course, they got to dial it up a notch. He also gets a hold of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Wow, this guy, Wolverine is the man.
So the only thing missing, I think, is like Batman's utility belt.
Yes.
And maybe Superman's cape, and then he'd have everything that he needs. So essentially, he's got everything, every powerful item that you could have to like just completely rule the universe. And they teased that today. When I say they, I mean Marvel put out a kind of a promotional picture. And a site I was on, CBR.com. They went in, they broke it down to say, like, here's all the things that they're showing. So, a newly reformed Squadron Supreme seemingly taking down the Avengers. So that's another superhero team that's fighting and beating the Avengers. Iron Fist battling hand ninjas. So you guys might be familiar with hand ninjas. That was a Daredevil storyline.
The show.
Yeah. The Punisher in medieval armor and a sword.
Huh?
Man-Thing, who is Marvel's equivalent of Swamp Thing, holding Mjolnir and Iron Man's helmet, seemingly detached from his head. Moon Knight, who is Marvel's Batman, leading an army of the dead. Namor attacking with a legion of sharks, and Malekith the Accursed setting the world on fire. Apparently, this is all a vision that he's having while he's got the Phoenix Force and holding on to this Infinity Gauntlet. So, this is apparently a tease for the upcoming War of the Realms event, which is going to be a huge multi-series crossover coming out this summer. So, Marvel tends to pull out all the stops and just do some wild bananas, all-encompassing storyline. They did it with like Planet Hulk, and they did it with Venomverse I talked about not that long ago. So this seems like this is going to be an absolutely insane version of Wolverine coming back, and everything just going absolutely crazy. So I'm excited to see it. I don't know how good of a story it'll be, like good as in like quality comics, but it'll be absolutely fascinating to see just how crazy this is going to get.
The two first opening lines. I mean, how did they even get the Phoenix Force? They explain that. How do you even get the Infinity Gauntlet? I guess.
Well, that's how he came back. The Phoenix Force seeks out.
It seeks out. Okay, that makes sense.
It seeks out those that need to be resurrected. So, yeah. So basically, Wolverine went from being a very powerful X-Man to
the strongest thing in the universe. Yep.
God. So yeah, he's just God now, which is going to be interesting to see. So that's all I got for comics news.
Cool. No reviews this week.
No reviews this week. No.
Great. It's perfect timing actually, because we're about where we need to be. So if Andrew wants to do a little spiel, we'll get out of here.
My little spiel includes PixelPub. That's what we're part of. And if you don't know what PixelPub is, it's a gaming community. We strive to provide the best in social gaming. It's in and out of game. And out of game, we have a very large Discord full of gamers and anime lovers and tabletop players and just all sorts of gamers. Mainly including, Wrath Incarnate, which is our largest community of Destiny 2 players. And then Warframe, we have a bunch of Warframe players. But then we have like a section just strictly for growing games, like growing community games, which means that we listen to our community. If our community wants a specific game or a specific type of games, we add channels, get them oriented, and maybe boost up a new and rising game. So we're all about community. We're all about members. If you want to join, hit pixelpubgaming.com, pixelpubgaming.com. There's a Discord invite there. Get in there. We do giveaways, talk to gamers, talk to us, right?
Yep.
Almost 17,000. I think we're like 50 away from 17,000 or something.
Now the time has come to mobilize them.
Mobilize against Bungie. Please make your game better. Basically.
Yes, 17,000 people knocking on Bungie's door.
Yeah.
Please make this game good. Insert a story, please.
And so wherever you're listening, make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and leave. Give us a review.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
All those stuff. Especially
pound
if
that
you don't
like
like us. If you don't like it, let us know. Tell us what you don't like.
Exactly.
What you'd like to see to change. Like feedback. We're good at that. We'll cry just a little bit, but not too much.
I cry after every show.
Before we go out completely, kind of go back to that Wolverine thing. How does that work with his claws? Does his claws go through the gauntlet, or does the gauntlet stop his claws?
The image I saw,
Oh boy.
which might have been just like a fan mashup, was just there's nice little slits in the Infinity Gauntlet where they come through.
Well, I was thinking like he has the gauntlet sitting on the claws. That's it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think that
more
makes sense.
That would
Yeah.
make some sense. So if you really want to nerd it up here, so
Yeah.
it is.
Push up the
can't be
glasses.
The
Sure.
Infinity Gauntlet, according to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, was made at the same forge as Thor's hammer, which means it's made out of Uru metal. Uru metal is like from the Dying Star, and it's really strong, super tough. Although it's been shown that Thor's hammer, when hit against Captain America's shield, which is made out of vibranium, it was unable to break the shield, right? Leading us to believe that vibranium is stronger than Uru metal. Now,
or equally.
or equally. Now we know that vibranium and adamantium, which is what Wolverine's claws are made out of, Wolverine's able to scratch vibranium and actually cut through some of it. So there is an in-universe thing that he could potentially just punch holes.
Just through that, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Kind of similar to just ripping the sleeves off of a nice shirt to make it a vest. I feel like Wolverine has rednecked up the Infinity Gauntlet.
There we go. All right.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, that answers my question. So
Everyone's
I'm out of here.
questions.
Yeah.
All right.
guys later.
It's done.
See ya.
All right, guys.